pretty classic pasta salad. Garlic, microplane, very thin. This is the start of the dressing. Red wine vinegar in with the garlic. Nice pinch of salt in with the garlic, about a 4-finger pinch. About 4 turns of the pepper mill. Now I'm gonna add some fresh herbs to the situation. I'm gonna put the oregano in now because it's a heartier herb. It kind of releases flavor slower. And then I'll finish with basil and a little bit of flat leaf parsley. I'm giving this a little finer cut than I usually do with herbs. Just gonna make sure I give the board a good scrape so I make sure I get any of those oils that may have came out of the herb into our dressing. That goes in. And now we're just gonna start to whisk with our sour cream. So the first thing is we have the oregano, the salt, pepper, the red wine vin. Sour cream is gonna add a tartness to this, but it's also gonna add a very nice creamy mouthfeel to our pasta salad. So we whisk that in. 1 part acid, which is our vinegar, 2 parts fat, which is our olive oil, and you have a vinaigrette. Okay. So now we have the orecchiette. When you think of pastas that are with sauces, when the sauce is hearty, the pasta is hearty. So, Liv, the more delicate the sauce, the more delicate the noodle. So this looks a little soupy now, but it's gonna absorb that sauce. So I'm gonna set this to the side. Got a good amount of knife work here to do. So we're just gonna get going on that. The basil and the flat leaf parsley are gonna go in at the end. So I'm gonna dice the onion. So for a dice, cut it in half. We leave the root side on. We go through with the knife, spin it so the root's facing away from us, straight down, 90% of the way to the root. And then we just go away and we have this perfect little dice. All right, cucumber. You know, we wanna kind of keep everything around the same size here, so I'm gonna quarter these. And then we'll put like a square kind of dice situation on these. And just like that.
Are those cherry tomatoes?
These are cherry tomatoes from the garden. I'm just splitting them in half. They are like sugar bombs. They're so sweet. Now everything is in our tomato salad other than those fresh herbs. We'll get this tossed, add the herbs at the very end before we serve it. Could you put the fresh herbs with the pasta salad? We got a nice handful of basil there and a nice handful of flat leaf parsley.
I still love it, but I love it more with the addition of the parsley and the basil.
For the main course, I decided I'm gonna make lobster and shells. I love high-low food, so I'm gonna combine lobster and tiny little shells and lots of fresh vegetables. So I've got a big pot of boiling water for cooking the pasta, 2 big tablespoons of salt, and 1 pound of these small shells. I like the really small shells. Pour that right in, and a big splash of oil so they don't all stick together. I'm just gonna cook that for 8 to 10 minutes until it's al dente. Oh, I think that might be Alec now. First, I'm gonna prep the corn. So the corn, in order to cut it off the cob, I just cut the end off, just set it on its little rear end, and just run my knife right down between the kernels and the cob. And it gets all over the kitchen, but then you can collect them. Okay, that's 1 ear. I've got 7 to go. For the last 2 minutes of the pasta cooking, I'm just gonna put the corn right into the pasta water, and then I can just drain them both together. We've got the pasta and the corn cooked at exactly the same time. How easy is that? Big stir. Great, so while that cooks, I'm gonna get the rest of the vegetables together. So the corn and the pasta are done. I'm just gonna drain them together. Oh. Whoa, it's gonna make a great salad. I love the local corn, it's just so delicious, it's sweet. Okay, into a big bowl. Now I'm gonna put all those gorgeous farm vegetables in. First, this big pile of scallions. Then those yellow peppers. Okay, lots of peppers. And then these tiny cherry tomatoes that are so beautiful. Usually I have big cherry tomatoes and I cut them in half, but these are so gorgeous, I'm not going to. So next I've got the lobster. I've got 2 pounds of cooked lobster. I mean, you could cook the lobster yourself, but why would you want to? I'm just gonna cut it in bite-sized pieces. This really is an example of the kind of high-low thing that I just love. It's kind of like truffled popcorn or baked potatoes with caviar. Just, I think it's a real sort of a wink at something really special without making it really pretentious. So just big bite-sized pieces. This lobster looks so good. So that's the lobster. Okay, I'm gonna make some sauce. This is actually a really easy sauce. It's mayonnaise, sour cream, lemon juice. So 1.5 cups of mayonnaise. I actually love to use mayonnaise for a sauce because it's so easy and you can really flavor it any way you like. And the key is to make sure it's creamy but also thin. 1 cup of sour cream. And then to thin it and give it lots of flavor, I'm gonna use 1/2 cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice. And just whisk it in. And then it really seems like a sauce, not like a mayonnaise dressing. The lemon juice is a nice acid. It really brings out the flavor of the pasta and the lobster. Okay, needs 4 teaspoons of salt, which is a tablespoon and a teaspoon. And 2 teaspoons of pepper, which is about 2/3 of a tablespoon. Remember, this makes a lot of sauce and a lot of salad. Okay, I'm just gonna pour it over. It's not gonna be easy tossing this. Okay, give it a big stir. Oh, and because the pasta and the corn is still warm, it's gonna really absorb the sauce. It's gonna be fantastic. Okay, then the last thing is I need fresh dill. So I'm just gonna give it a big rough chop. Fortunately, it's a gorgeous day, so we're gonna have a really nice time outside. Love dill. It's so pungent, it's fantastic. Okay, big bunch of dill, right in. I'm gonna toss that around, and then I'm gonna go outside and give Mariska some fabulous flowers for the table.
A great thing about this pasta salad is that you can put whatever veggie you like in there. I am making a summery and simple pasta salad. I have some tricolor pasta here that I've already cooked and drained. I'm cutting up some summer squash, which is really beautiful and tasty around this time of year. I'm just gonna throw in some tomatoes, olives, and a little bit more of that Italian dressing I used for the sliders. And so now I'm just dicing my zucchini. I have some yellow squash right there as well. All right, so all of my veggies are diced up. Got some tricolor spiral pasta that I've boiled till it was al dente. You want it to still kind of have a bite to it. I'm gonna add my veggies. All right, I have some black olives and some sliced cherry tomatoes. Taking that Italian dressing that I used earlier for the sliders, and just adding it directly to the pasta. Super simple veggie pasta salad. And easy to make in the summertime because you really don't want to spend a lot of time in that hot kitchen. The perfect dish for that. A little salt and freshly cracked black pepper. The great thing about pasta salads, the longer it sits, the better it gets. So you can actually make this a day before or even 2 days in advance. And as it sits in that Italian dressing, it's just gonna soak up all of that flavor. All right, I'm just gonna give it a mix, and this pasta salad is done. If you want, you can also add some cheese to this. Feta would be really good in here. You can add more Parmesan. Again, you can add any protein that you want if you want to add a protein. It's the summertime, so if you're anywhere near the water, shrimp will be so good in this. But this is the perfect side for those skewers. Okay, give it a taste. Get some of that zucchini in there. Get a squash. That's good. This is a great pasta salad if you just want something that's refreshing and tasty. And it's a great side.
Nick and I are having a tropical game night with all of our friends to let loose on the farm. It's a no-brainer to make macaroni salad, which is loved by both Midwesterners and Hawaiians. Mine is creamy and comforting and has soft noodles and crunchy celery. To get started, I have a pot of boiling water that I'm salting. And don't hold back with the salt here. You don't want a flavorless noodle. And then I'll add a pound of macaroni noodles. And I'm gonna cook these for about 2 minutes more than what the package says because I want them to be extra soft. While these boil, I'll make my dressing. My mac salad has to have a mayonnaise-based dressing. You could go another route, but I don't want to disappoint anyone. I'm gonna start with 2 1/4 cups of mayonnaise. I'll get this right into my big bowl. This is so easy because I'm gonna be assembling all of the macaroni salad into this bowl. I'll add a 1/4 cup of whole milk to thin it out. And then 2 tablespoons of sugar to amp up the sweetness. I appreciate a sweet enough macaroni salad. And I'll mix this to combine. This is a lot of dressing, but you want a thick coating on the noodles. Hawaii and the Midwest are more similar than you might think. We're both obsessed with macaroni salad. In Hawaii, they've abbreviated it to mac salad. So cool. I love macaroni salad because it's so creamy and comforting. I could eat it all day long. The dressing is really smooth. I'm gonna check on my noodles. I'll drain these. I'm gonna drizzle on a few tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. This will add necessary acidity to the salad, and while the noodles are still hot, they'll be able to absorb that vinegar more easily. My noodles have had a chance to cool, so now it's time to put this macaroni salad together. One secret that adds a lot of flavor to macaroni salad is grated onion. I'm gonna use the big holes of the box grater to grate this right in. And I'm gonna hold it over the bowl so that both the juices and the pieces of onions make it in. I'll add some shredded carrots for color and sweetness, chopped celery for a little crunch, and then I'll thinly slice my scallions on a bias to make it extra pretty. And now I'll fold in my noodles. I'll season with salt and pepper. And fold everything together to thoroughly combine. Can't wait to eat this. This macaroni salad is looking extra creamy. I am going to taste it. That is perfectly balanced. The sweetness of the onion and the sugar in there, and the acidity from the apple cider vinegar is great, and I love the crunch from the vegetables. Okay, I just have to plate this up. Oh yeah. For a pop of color, I'll sprinkle on my reserved scallion greens. Now this will go in the refrigerator until party time. Fingers crossed I don't eat it all before my guests get here.
There are just some dishes that are classics to take to any cookout, and pasta salad is way up there on the list. There are so many variations, and I'm gonna make sunshine pasta salad, which is glorious and beautiful and oh so flavorful. I started with cooked penne. It's nice and cool. So next I'm gonna add the dressing. This is bright and lemony and fresh, and I know you're gonna love it. It's a lemon mustard dressing, and its base is a cup of mayo and a cup of sour cream. Then here comes the flavor: 1/2 cup of Dijon mustard, the zest of a lemon, a tablespoon of lemon juice, 1/2 teaspoon each of grated garlic, kosher salt, and black pepper. A quick whisk, and it's done. So I usually start by pouring on about 2/3 of a dressing when I make pasta salad, and then I save the rest back for the end. I like to mix everything together and see how it looks first. Now I have probably more ingredients to add to the pasta salad than the pasta itself. Since this is sunshine pasta salad, I wanted to add all the colors of a beautiful sunset or sunrise, depending on what time you get out of bed. So I've got yellow, orange, and red bell pepper. I mean, it doesn't get any more summery than this. These colors are so pretty. I've got a bunch of halved cherry tomatoes, red ones, and also yellow ones. This is what I like in a pasta salad. The pasta is kind of there as a base, but I love as many ingredients as you can fit in the bowl. I've got a little colander of frozen corn kernels. I let them thaw. This bowl is getting full, I told you. Now, the dressing has a nice zip to it, but I'm gonna add some sliced banana peppers that are drained. I wanted the ingredients to have something with a little bit of a bite. Now comes the hard part and the fun part. This is where the rubber meets the road. I love this combination. Usually I try to be a little bit more balanced with the colors in my salads. I'm really tempted to add some basil or something green in here, but I really want to stick to that sunrise theme. I don't want to break from the red and orange and yellow. I think what I like so much about pasta salads is, well, pasta, my favorite thing on earth. But I also just like how many possibilities there are. I cannot tell you how many different kinds of pasta salads I've made through the years. One time I had a group of friends over and everybody brought a different pasta salad. That was one of the best days of my entire life. Okay, I think I got that mixed up. It's a miracle. I was afraid I wasn't gonna be able to mix it without getting it all over the kitchen. I think the best way to serve a pasta salad is on a big rimmed platter. Okay, this is where I might get in trouble. It looks like it's gonna be a happy ending. Yay! I was close there for a second. This is so gorgeous. Now, I told you I was tempted to garnish with some basil or parsley, but I'm gonna keep with the sunrise sunset colors and slice a lemon and just put a few slices on top. I mean, this screams summer. If I saw this at a cookout, I would skip the burgers and steaks and go straight for a big plate full of this. But as I said, I'm kind of a pasta lover. Have been my whole life. Well, some people might see a sunrise, some might see a sunset. I just see a beautiful pasta salad for a summer cookout. I'd say this is a winner.
I'm making a grilled shrimp macaroni salad. Sweet Carolina shrimp and American macaroni salad. It is amazing. So I got a pound of local shrimp that I just put a little bit of olive oil on there. I got some cracked black pepper, kosher salt, squeeze half of lemon on top. Lemon juice just really brightens up seafood, especially shrimp. My grill is very, very hot. These shrimp are gonna cook in no time. I'm just gonna pour this right on top of my, ooh! Music to my ears. Spread it out, make sure they cook nice and evenly. Ain't nothing like Charleston shrimp, I tell you that. When the shrimp get nice and pink and a nice little char on it, you know it's time to flip it. This salad is gonna be loaded with shrimp. Nice and crispy and super sweet. Ooh, look at that. These shrimp are perfection. I'm gonna let it cool down and get started on the dressing for my macaroni salad. It's a simple Dijonnaise, about a half a cup of mayo, a squirt of Dijon mustard. That Dijon mustard is gonna give it a little tang. Quarter cup of sweet relish. The sweet relish is gonna help mellow out the tanginess from the Dijon and the red wine vinegar. I'd say about a tablespoon of red wine vinegar. Put that to the side. A half an onion. Shrimp season is not year-round in Charleston, but what my grandmother likes to do and what I like to do now too is get the shrimp in shrimp season and put pounds of it in the freezer. So when we want shrimp when it's out of season, we just go to the freezer, thaw it out, and it tastes just as fresh. Half of a green bell pepper. This is Charleston's Trinity. Onion, bell pepper, celery, and I got some celery back there that I'm gonna cut up as well. Do the same thing with this celery stalk. Shrimp is a staple ingredient in low country cooking, especially gullah cooking, because it's plentiful. I come from a long line of avid fishermen and shrimpers. My grandfather made handmade nets right under the oak tree in his backyard. People would come by and they would pay for it, and he made a living doing that. So that's why I love shrimp. I have a 16-ounce box of elbow macaroni cooked al dente. The dressing just adheres to this pasta really, really well. Add my shrimp now. Now we're talking. I'm gonna add a little bit more salt. For this particular dish, I like to use garlic salt. It has garlic and salt, of course, and a little bit of dried parsley. Last but not least, just gonna add some fresh parsley on top, brighten it up a little bit, and some paprika. My mom loves to serve her salads like that and kind of picked up that habit too. I'm gonna let this refrigerate for about an hour. If you want to do it overnight, you can, but an hour is all I need.
I've got some radiatore pasta, which is really cute and frilly, and I drained it and rinsed it under cold water because I need it to be cold when I add all the other ingredients. And now I'm gonna fry up some bacon. This is one of the reasons this is a kid-friendly pasta salad. I've never met a kid that argued with bacon. I'll put in about 8 slices or so. I'm gonna cook the bacon until it's just beyond the chewy stage, just so it's slightly crisp. Okay, now I'm gonna get started on the dressing. I'll start with half a cup of mayonnaise, and then I'll add a half a cup of milk, and then just plain white vinegar. I'll add about 3 tablespoons. So I'll whisk this together. Yeah, that looks just right. You don't want it to be too thick. You want it to be nice and pourable so it'll coat all the pasta. Now I'll add some salt and plenty of black pepper. Give it a stir. And that's the dressing. Simple as that. Okay, and with that, the bacon is done. Don't want it to get too crisp. I'm gonna drain it on a paper towel so the pasta salad won't be too greasy. All right, now let that cool for a minute. Now I'm gonna throw together the salad. I'll just put the cheese in. I've got about a half a pound of mild cheddar cheese, very palatable for all kids, and the lovely yellow and red tomatoes. I've got about 10 ounces of tomatoes, give or take. And now the bacon is cool. I'm just gonna give it a rough chop. There's almost more extras than there is pasta in the pasta salad. Then for a little flavor, I've got 3 green onions. Yummy. Now I'll just pour in the dressing. I need a spoon for this. Oh, so pretty. Now, to really send this kid-friendly pasta salad over the top, I'm gonna add some fresh basil. This is just perfect. It's got the right amount of bacon, the right amount of cheese. The girls are gonna love it.
Today we are making a simple whole wheat pasta salad that is inexpensive and delicious. Let's get started. So the first thing I'm gonna do is something kind of exciting and unexpected, and that is char a pepper right on the burner. So I take a bell pepper. You can use orange or yellow or even green. I personally love the ripeness and sweetness of the red pepper. This is something my mom did when I was growing up. I remember running into the kitchen, thinking the entire kitchen was burning down. My mom had a pepper on each burner of the stove, and she would just char them on all sides. We're just gonna leave them about 3 minutes on each side, get them all nice and charred, and you'll see what happens to them. Here I have one that's completely finished. You see, just charred on all sides, and that also at the same time cooks the peppers a little bit, tenderizes them, but they're not overcooked. They're kind of fun. So let's deal with the pepper first. So we have the pepper, and this is just cooled, right? Once it's charred on all sides, I just cut into the top of the pepper, right? And just literally pop that whole middle part with the seeds in it, right out. Cut down the middle and just open that pepper up. You see that? You can see it's still firm, right? Not overcooked, but tender. Okay, turn it over on the charred skin side and literally just take a kitchen towel and wipe that charred skin right off. You're left with this sweet kind of aromatic pepper without the bitter skin. You didn't work hard to remove it. All you did was put the pepper on the burner and turn it bit by bit, rotating. It's almost like a rotisserie burner pepper that we made right on the gas stove. I leave a little bit of that char on. You don't want to do this perfectly. And 1 pepper goes a long way. I'm I'm gonna season this pepper immediately with just a tiny pinch of sugar. Meanwhile, I also have here my whole wheat pasta that's just cooking away. Once I drop the pasta in the water, the clock starts ticking on the whole dish. This needs 1 more minute. You know, I know we have all these rules about how long to cook pasta and whatever else. I just give a piece of pasta a pinch just to see how tender it feels, or I just taste a piece. I bring the water to a boil first. Then I season the water with salt so it tastes like seawater. It should taste a little bit like when you went swimming as a kid and you got that first wave and that mouthful of ocean water. That's what you want your pasta water to taste like. So I cut down the length of these and just turn them halfway and just cube them up. And you can see 1 pepper goes a really long way, which I like, right? This is sort of the spark plug in this dish. It gives color, it gives vibrancy, it gives a little bit of sweetness. It also is gonna give, as you'll see, a little bit of acidity. So there's the pepper cut up. And we're also gonna add a tablespoon of red wine vinegar, just to give it a little bit of acidity. Right over the top. Pinch of salt, always. A little bit of pepper. And you just let this sit. You can make this in advance if you want, and when you're ready to serve the pasta, you can just drop these on top. I generally have the pepper at room temperature. So the hot pasta gets kind of room tempy, the pepper's room temp. That's why I like to serve this. This is the bowl I'm gonna go into with the actual pasta when it's cooked. I like a big bowl because we're gonna have the pesto in here, the pasta water, and all the pasta itself. Now the pesto itself. This is a basil pesto. You can get the recipe on the Food Network app. This is actually made with basil and olive oil and no nuts. Part of having a budget meal is cutting out that super expensive ingredient that you may not even need. And it's got just this wonderful, grassy basil taste. So I put the whole batch of basil pesto right into the bottom of the bowl, and that just smells good. You know you're getting ready for something good. It's time to drain our pasta. So I'll take that off the heat and drain it. Drain it. I don't worry so much with this recipe about getting every bit of excess pasta water off the pasta itself, because I want a little bit of that in here to mix with the pesto. And now my favorite part, where it all just comes together. Give it a little shake, and just tip this in. Before you even mix it, you get this wonderful nose bath where the pasta just meets up with the basil pesto. Toss a little bit, gently. Let these two get acclimated. Now, we've salted our pasta water so it tastes like seawater. We made the basil pesto. We seasoned that too. And that's another really critical part of simple dishes. Make sure every bit of your dish is seasoned along the way. I'm gonna add just the tiniest pinch of salt to the pasta itself. Tossing, tossing. And you'll see the fusilli, these curls, they just trap those little bits of basil inside the crevices. That's how sometimes your choice in pasta can be really important. Let's just taste one right now. Good. I always find it needs a tiny bit of salt at the end. Now, I'm gonna just add this in. Let's spoon some of this. Now, I'll add a little bit of this, a couple spoonfuls. You can also just serve it right in this bowl like this, or you can get fancy. I'll add a little bit of that, and then I'll wanna layer just a little of these. Remember, they've got vinegar on them. They're super bright. A little bit of that char, which is so unlike that kind of grassy, herbaceous pesto. Those unexpected flavors of sweet pepper, vinegar, tiny bit of cheese. I always find the pre-grated stuff is almost saltier, and I like that here. I like that it's finely grated. You can also grate straight from a block. When I know I'm not gonna use all my cheese at once, my Parm especially, I'll buy a little block and I'll grate as I need it. Cheese definitely keeps longer if you buy it whole. A little bit more, right? And that was kind of our middle kind of surprise layer. And you see, this really goes a long way. Pound of pasta, a few bunches of basil, some oil. Oh, yeah. And then just go deep with those peppers. This is also the kind of thing I feel like you can get away at lunchtime. It's kind of an anytime dish, and it only costs a few bucks to make, which I love. More cheese on top, of course. Right over. When you're grating your cheese, make sure you go all around. The simple step of just making sure every bit gets covered. Pretend this is like a little cheese helicopter. Just going over all your stuff, right? If you want, garnish with some basil leaves. You know what I like to do? I use the big leaves for the pesto, and I save these little guys. I just set aside a few, and that way you use the whole bunch of basil, but you kind of get two uses out of it. The big leaves go into the pesto itself when you're making it, and then these little leaves can be a little garnish. And it's just so vibrant when you have the actual fresh herb. It's also nice to show people when you're serving your dish what flavors are in it. Because the minute you look at this, you say, oh, basil, peppers, cheese. And that's when your mouth starts watering. I'll serve myself a little smaller portion over here. I always give a measurement for cheese and somehow end up using twice as much. I love the pasta like this. The basil is trapped in every curl. And then those crunchy peppers, they just add so much texture and brightness. It's really good. Try it.
I'm making my pasta salad with tomatoes, cucumbers, and grilled green onion, crushed olive vinaigrette.
Ooh.
Wowie.
Into this very generously salted pot of generously salted water, I have put my, what is this, Jeff? Can you name that pasta?
Fusilli.
Fusilli. And I love this because this grabs. You need grabbing pasta.
I like fusilli for a pasta salad.
So I'm going to take these grilled. I have some beautiful grilled scallions, nice and charred. We've been doing this all spring. I love this. Really, it's really fantastic. Our pasta's in. That's where the magic happens. This water has to be very salted, like the sea, because we are not using this water. If you were making a sauce in the pan, you would make it salty as broth. So when you added it, it wouldn't get too salty. So in this case, we're going to fully cook it to a real al dente, but really salty. Okay. Then we're going to make a vinaigrette. That's our flavoring agent, a vinaigrette. What do we have? We have mustard. What else do we have, Jeff?
Olive oil.
And vinegar, Chardonnay vinegar. I like
Chardonnay.
Chardonnay vinegar. I like 50-50. I don't like 3-to-1. I'm always very vinegary. Like I believe both of you are very vinegary as well. Okay, pasta's cooking. I have all my mise en place here. I'm gonna chop up these beautiful scallions.
So good.
Oh.
My gosh. Hot, hot. You can do it. We believe in you.
This is just olive oil, salt, and pepper. Very simple.
Oh my God.
Oh, heavens.
Let's taste this. I think it's gonna be fine. So this is what's gonna flavor the pasta plus everything else we're putting in. The pasta, strangely enough, doesn't need a lot of things for flavoring. A lot of dressings and mayo is too much dressing. It just overwhelms the pasta. I know you do. Okay, so we're gonna put all our stuff here. And then we're gonna wait for our pasta to cook because I want the pasta to really hit the vinaigrette and really soak up that vinaigrette. Because everything else is just gonna go along for the ride, all right?
Nice.
So what do we have here? We have some Kalamata olives, some fresh dill, some fresh Italian parsley, and some provolone, which is hard to leave alone, especially when it's cut up. Some red onions, and some tomatoes that I've lightly salted, and some arugula. That's the ingredient.
Provolone.
Provolone.
Mystery little addition there.
Jeff, you love provolone.
I love it. Shoot me.
Very good, excellent.
Provolone Express, next up, my mouth.
Jeffrey, I love that you're making this room temp. I love that you're dropping hot pasta into a vinaigrette so it absorbs everything. But I just love that cold elbow macaroni salad with mayo
That's in the
out of
deli
the fridge.
case, right? It's in the deli case.
From a deli guy, I am not a fan of deli-style mac salad or any type of pasta salad. I like this. This is how I make my pasta salads.
Revelation.
I'm with you.
Revelation.
Katie, help me.
I'm with you.
We're good.
Here we go.
That's
We don't drain it. Just do the whole,
Okay.
they call this the lazy method.
Sammy the spider. Look at him go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
another
if you
thing
don't
that I
have
like
one of those spiders,
my
get
pasta
one.
salads are like 1/3 pasta, 2/3 salads. I don't like a lot of pasta ratio. A lot of people put a lot of pasta, just a little stuff.
Another thing
That's
I
all the
agree with
pasta.
you on, Jeff. What is
I'm
going
with you on that, Geoffrey, because I like a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
Olives, parsley, dill, provolone. Yeah, that's for you.
Thank you. Just put it in my provolone zone.
I guess since we don't agree with him on everything, we don't get any cheese.
Onions.
You guys, you didn't play it right.
Okay, and a lot of pepper. You gotta have pepper. Pepper wakes everything up, especially pasta salad. And Alex is determining what this tastes like. Last thing, arugula.
You're right. I really am. I'm doing a little math equation in my head. It looks great. I can smell it from here, too.
So
'cause it's
the
hot.
pasta is gonna suck up all that. The warmth is gonna slightly wilt the arugula, but I'm gonna put some fresh on top so you have fresh and cooked. And that's the key, to me, to a real pasta salad that you will go back to every time. And it actually, all this mixing will put it to a temperature that's really ambient, so you'll be able to eat it. There has to be a balance between the green and the vinaigrette, and the pasta just is there to, like, beef everything up. Are you ready? I'm gonna give it a TV shot.
I have to say, this is beautiful and fresh looking.
Why do you want mayo? Your pasta salad will not look like this if you put mayo in it.
You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to eat a bowl of macaroni salad with the mayo while looking at this. I would be really happy.
Why can't you just have both, you know?
You can have both. But I recommend this for an outside picnic or an outside al fresco dining.
Well, here's the benefit of the no mayo with a salad like this. If you are traveling and you can't keep it cold, this will not go bad.
That's what ice is for, Katie. But all right.
That's true, though.
It's so...
A little safer in the hot summer heat, too.
So delicious.
That's gorgeous, Geoffrey. I'm just busting your
The
chops.
arugula and the olive. It's like it's almost like a niçoise salad, but that arugula really just jazzes it all up.
I can smell the dill from here, which I love with the idea of the salty cheese.
So delicious.
I love macaroni salad in all forms, and for the picnic tomorrow, I thought I'd give it a little bit of a Mexican twist. It'll be a lot more festive and fun that way. Now, I cooked some elbow macaroni, drained it, and gave it a good rinse to cool it off. And now I'll get going on adding all the good ingredients. I chopped up about 6 Roma tomatoes, and I'll just go in with those. Now, I've also been grilling some fresh corn, and it's ready to come off of the grill pan. So I'll put it onto a plate and let it cool for a minute or two. Now, I also chopped up some red onion. Put this in. This is a really colorful, beautiful salad. Now, I also like to add some black olives. I'm using Kalamata olives because that's what I had in my pantry, but you can also use ripe black olives. They just add a really nice saltiness. Oh, okay, these are looking good, so these will go right in. Now, for more color and texture, and because this is a Mexican macaroni salad, I'm adding a can of rinsed black beans. I just put them in a colander, rinsed them with cold water, and they're just perfect. Now, for some more flavor, I'm gonna slice up some green onions and add those to the mix. Just gonna slice them pretty thin. Okay, now the green onions just go right in. Now, the corn should be cool enough to slice. Try it out. Oh yeah, it's fine. Now I just got a sharp knife and I'll just slice the kernels right off. You can also just use frozen corn. Just rinse it under water, let it thaw a bit and add it in. This macaroni salad is perfect made the day before. It's really great for picnics because you can get it all done ahead of time. Okay, got all the corn shaved off and it's gonna go in the bowl. I love salads like this. You just keep adding beautiful ingredients. Usually just whatever you have in your pantry or fridge will make a great macaroni salad. All right, now the salad is ready for the dressing. I love this dressing. It is so delicious. It starts with a cup of salsa. Just salsa right out of the jar is just fine. And then I'll add an equal amount of sour cream. You can use low-fat or even fat-free sour cream. I'm going for the good stuff. It's how I roll, sorry. All right, and then just to give it a little extra flavor, I like to add about a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. That's good. And then again, because this is Mexican macaroni salad, about a 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. It'll give the dressing a really great flavor. And then just a little bit of salt and pepper. And then I'll just stir this around until it's all combined. This turns into a really great sort of pink dressing. It's really delicious. You really taste that salsa in there. Okay, now the dressing just gets poured right over everything. Gosh, this salad already smells so good. And then I'll just use a spatula to fold it all together. Okay, it's all mixed together. So I'll just transfer it into my picnic container. I certainly hope it will all fit. Oh, it looks so great. Okay, now I'll just grab the lid. And this is just gonna get better and better in the fridge overnight. All right, that's one dish for the picnic, all ready to go.